Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you about the latest from Flotsam And Jetsam, Blood in the Water, out June 4th on AFM Records. This album has 12 tracks, 54 minutes in length, and this the band's 14th full-length studio record. They are an American power thrash metal band. Now, this album is super balanced in the structure, in the soundscape, and all the elements that really has to offer. That's the main thing that I took away from this record. It's not really an album that offers a roller coaster ride or that has incredible peaks and really deep valleys. It's just really straightforward from top all the way to the bottom. Sure, there are some inflections, there are some variables throughout the tracks, within the tracks, that really allow the album to have a little bit of more of a dynamic mechanism that allows the album to be a little bit more engaging. But overall, this is a very continuous forward motion style record that only really dips at the middle point of the record with the old school ballad style song that as a listener you really needed. For a record that has this much power, that has this much strength, this much volume, that really comes at you in a relentless format, you almost need a song like that to really break the routines, to really give you a sense of being able to go up for air, relax a little bit, even though that song still has a lot of strength and still has a lot of power, but really allows you to prepare a little bit better for the onslaught that comes in that second half of the record. So definitely an album of two halves, a little bit of an old school style format as far as the structure goes. Now, once you get into the soundscape, this album is rich, is powerful, is heavy, is driven. To me, these are the best four words that really describe the overall experience of sitting down and listening to this record. Is pedal to the metal from top all the way to the bottom. Like I said, not a lot of breaks, but the overall sound has so much substance. It's so big, it's heavy, it has volume, it has power across every single element. It's like everybody is adding fuel to the fire. And that's how this album starts to grow on you in terms of the volume, in terms of the presence, in terms of the sound that it really has to offer. Perhaps starting with the drums, then the guitars add a little bit more fuel, then the vocals add more fuel, then the lyrical content adds more fuel. It's just an album that just grows and grows with every single track and never really lets go. It's in your face sound, substance, power, strength from the beginning all the way to the end. I love the sound quality as well, because sometimes when you have albums like this that are very driven, that have a lot of volume, things get lost a little bit in the mix and it's hard to really determine what's causing what or what's driving what. This album, while having a big sound, a big presence, is still very well defined, very cohesive. It really allows you to understand exactly what each element is doing within the tracks and then obviously within the overall design of the record. Once it gets too deeper into that soundscape, there are two cornerstones, the drums and the guitars. I love the drum sound on this record. First of all, I love the power that it has. Really thunderous. Just so much strength, so much pungent presence that it has on every single track, really creating this incredible foundation on every song, but not just creating a foundation, not just grounding the tracks, really allowing the songs to be as big as they are. I don't think this record has this big volume, this big sound, without the drums coming across the way that they do consistently on every single track. Like I said, even in the songs that have a little bit of a break here and there, the drums always feel very powerful, very strong, very tight, very balanced approach from the first to the last track. And then you have the guitars. The guitars are really the driver, the motor of this record. Where the guitars goes, that's exactly where this album goes. Is where the songs go, is where you go as the listener. They really dictate the pace, the tempo. A lot of the strength comes from the guitars as well. A lot of the volume is also put forward by the guitars, but they always have a sense of direction. They never really leave you wondering within this record, not really sure where you are, where things started, where you're going. The guitars on this album have one goal, and that goal is to hold you, keep you engaged, and keep you moving from song to song without almost giving you a sense of a break or a sense of a pause. They're really there to really transport you throughout the journey of the record. On top of it all, you have incredible, and I mean this, incredible vocals by Eric. I mean, this guy has the right voice, the right tone, the right delivery, the right range for an album that has this sort of presence, that has this sort of substance, this sort of depth, sound, and experience. He elevates the songs. He makes them feel even bigger. He doesn't drown out the volume. He doesn't take anything away from what the other elements are putting together. He actually brings the lyrics a little bit more to the forefront, allows them to be a little bit more impactful, allows the listener to connect with the lyrics, understand that the drive of the song sometimes are there to really enhance the power and strength in the message of the lyrics, and he's just the conduit. He's really there to connect those two worlds, the lyrics and the sound that's keep moving behind him. Just incredible range, incredible performance. He was top-notch, consistent from beginning to the end. Just an incredible performance on this record. I was blown away by the quality of approach, by the little nuances that he gave to the tracks, by how he changed ever so slightly the dynamics of the songs in order to make the songs a little bit more interesting, not to feel as repetitive. Just incredible performance, like I said, all around. I love the vocals on this record, definitely one of the highlights of the album. Overall, this is one of their strongest records to date. I feel like it's one of their loudest, biggest sound, biggest volume style records that they've ever released. Now, the only problem that I have with this album, and now I'm really nitpicking here, is the duration of the record. 54 minutes, 12 songs, it's a little bit long. It feels a little bit long. I wish this album was around the 45-minute mark. I think would make the album feel a little bit better. It would increase the playability of the record, and it would make you feel like you want to press play again by the time you reach the end. It takes nothing away from the individual quality of the songs. It takes nothing away from the overall quality of the record. But because of the strength of the album, because of the volume, because of the intensity that this record has, you really feel exhausted by the time you reach the last song. You really feel like you've been putting through a grinder. So it almost requires you to walk a little bit away from the album before you press play again. If the record was perhaps in the 45-minute range, if you remove 2 songs from the mix and it's only like 10 tracks, I think you don't have that same feeling. I think you can take that pounding, that relentless pounding that this album provides you from top to bottom, and still feel like you can go for another round at the end of it. Right now, I don't get that sensation from it. I really feel like I need to pause, break, catch my breath before I go back into it, because I know it's going to be relentless again, and I really have to have the energy to survive it. So I think that's the only really thing that I would change about this record, the only perhaps negative that this album really has to offer to the listener. Now, as far as favorite songs, I want to start off with Brace for Impact. I mean, this is a song that the title of the track really represents what you're going to listen to. I mean, this is a track that you really have to brace for impact. It's pedal to the metal, is an absolute banger from top to bottom. Very linear track, doesn't really change from verses to chorus. The only change that it happens is that the chorus is definitely hooky, catchy. The simplicity of the lyrics really help with that aspect. But from a musical perspective, this song is very straightforward. What you get at the beginning is what you're going to get all the way through, allowing the song to be a little bit more in your face, to be a little bit more relentless, to have a little bit more of a presence, and be, like I said, an absolute banger, pedal to the metal style track. Next, Cry for the Dead, that ballad, old school style thrash metal ballad in the middle of the record that really breaks the album. But I really like this song. It has that old school flavor of being a little bit mellow, a little bit melancholic, but then building up, morphing, growing, and always building towards something, always building towards a stronger finish, if you will, a little bit of heaviness, building towards something that really propels this song forward and gives it a little bit of power and momentum. So I like how this song is structured, I like how this song is designed. Like I said, it has an old school approach to it, and I feel that it fits this record to perfection. And you needed a track like this in the middle that gives you a sense of a break, but at the same time it doesn't completely break off of the rest of the record in terms of what came before and what comes after. It's a little bit of a connector track, if you will. Last but not least, Too Many Lives. The drums on this song are just relentless, thunderous drums, and then you have the guitars. The guitars are like lightning bolts in this storm of sound that this song puts together. On top of it all, you get the vocals. The vocals come in and start to push this song forward. This is the trifecta of heavy metal coming together. Thunderous drums, powerful guitars, enigmatic vocals, just really wide range that really allows this song to come to the forefront. It brings a little bit of the lyrics to life as well. I felt a little bit more connected with the lyrical content of this song. A lot of it has to do with how the vocals come across and how the vocals approach this very specific track. So it was a very interesting dynamic between these three elements. A track that comes at you and it's always in your face. It has that sense of being in your face from beginning to end. A lot of that comes from the drums and how the guitars really partner it up in order to create that big sound, that big volume. I love this track. This is it. This is Flotsam and Jetsam, Blood in the Water, out June 4th on AFM Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.